Hello everybody. This is a brief video to talk about what's going to be happening the next several weeks in class. And what I'm talking about here is the behavior study. And there's going to be other things going on in class. We'll be covering different topics. There'll be some other minor assignments going on. But this is the big assignment that begins on Monday and will be going on for really a month and a half. So I want to give you a preview of where we're going, what the big picture. To review, the behavior study is worth 25% of your grade. So we're really not fooling around here, right? It's going to begin by you selecting a behavior you want to study. And as you select that behavior, I want to be something that's a behavior relevant to your peers. How you define peers is up to you. I'd like you to consult with me about that a little bit, I suppose. It may be college students. It may be students of your own age, which may not be 20. I mean, you might be hearing this and you might be 30 or so, right? And so you may not consider yourself that same peer group as, say, 20-year-olds. So who is it that your peers? Is it your peers within a certain faith community? But some behavior that affects your peers. You need to be relevant, right? And so if you're talking about, say, talking to college students, a behavior to be relevant then of your peers would be like, do peers do their reading before class, and why or why not, and what affects that, and how can we change that? If you're talking about within a faith community, you might be looking at why is it that people within the community regard certain behaviors as being immoral, yet they engage in them, or they engage in behaviors that do seem very similar to, like how do they manage that contradiction? That sort of thing is what we're talking about. So you're selecting a behavior, and you're interested in it and how the behavior affects your peers. And I'm saying your peers because I want you to focus on a behavior that will have, and with an audience, really a group of people, there'll be some people that you, for lack of better words, that you get, that you understand, right? So I'm a professor, so I'm probably not, I mean, I can talk about the behaviors that are relevant to college students, but I'm not going to have my finger on the pulse of it so much, if you will, because I'm a professor. So, but I could, if you want to do a study about faculty behavior, well, I would be a much better place to do that because talking to faculty would be my peers. So you're selecting behavior, and then you create a survey. And we're going to talk about how to do that in class. This whole project begins with discussing how to do research. And the survey is worth 1/3 of that 25%. It's worth 1/3. And first you're going to create a draft of the survey, and I'm going to grade that. It will be part of your grade. And then I'm going to return it to you, and you're going to create the final version of it. I'm going to bring those two together to create that 1/3 of the 25%. So with that, you'll have created a survey. And I'll talk about how you create the survey in a little bit here, what we'll be focusing on. Now that you have the survey, you need to use it. So you're going to be collecting data using the surveys, as in giving the surveys to people. And they're going to respond to surveys, they're going to be circling things or checking boxes or however you have them do it. And that's going to be data. Once you have that data, you're going to do analysis of the data. And we're going to talk about how you do analysis, both in terms of using your computer, how you do analysis. I will walk you through that process when that time comes, but also in terms of the theory, how are we supposed to be using and looking at data? We're going to talk about that. And then you're going to write the report, and that is worth the final 2/3 of the study grade. So that's the overview. You select a behavior, you create a survey about the behavior, you then are going to collect data using those surveys, you're going to do analysis of the data, and then you're going to write it up. So let's look at the syllabus, or the calendar from the syllabus, to see how this sort of works out. This is a selection from your syllabus, and you'll see that some things are in small print and some are in larger print. The things in smaller print are things that are happening and going on while this project is also happening. So we're not just going to spend, say, 3 weeks all in the project, because you need time to turn things in, me to give you feedback, you to revise it, you to go out and collect things. So we're going to be learning new content. You'll have some other smaller assignments going on while this major project is still very much brewing in the background. So as we look at it, the first week of this project, which is Module 4, we'll be studying the theory of reasoned action, and also, and you see in that parentheses there, TPB, the theory of planned behavior. They're really the same theory, and we'll get to that. That is the theory that you will be using in the design of your surveys and in your study. That is the theory you're using, is the theory of planned behavior. That's going to be what you're using. And so that week we're talking about the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior. There's a relationship there. We'll talk about that in lecture. And then we're going to talk about research design and persuasion and how do you create surveys. So that's going to be the focus that week, is laying the foundation. So it's a very important week, and this is not going to be a good time to slack off and try to catch up with something later on. You've got to really be on top of it that first module, or that module 4 there, which is the first module within this project. The following week, we're going to move on to the following module. We're going to move on to other theories, talk about social judgment theory, spiral of silence. But that Thursday, you'll be turning in that first draft of your survey. And it says TPB survey because you're creating a survey using the theory of planned behavior. You'll turn that in to me. I'll grade it and give you feedback. And you'll turn the revised version in on March 1st. And as we go along with these dates, if there's some reason we need to extend it, I got behind, or it just seems like you need more time, we'll talk about that. One of the biggest reasons that I have the revised version of the survey due on March 1st is I want you to have it in before spring break, because I want you to be able to have your spring break and not to be expecting you're going to give up spring break for the project. That said, you have your survey done. Now that you have the survey, you're going to use it to collect data. If you want to collect data during spring break, if your survey's been approved, I guess you could. I won't stop you. If you want to work ahead, that's certainly your choice. But I'm giving you a work week when you come back from spring break to work on data collection, because it takes time. It takes time to go around soliciting surveys, people telling you yes, but many people telling you no, to get all the surveys that you need. And how many you need, we're gonna talk about that. You just have to just wait until that time comes. The following week, there's an exam. So you can work on the exam, and then of course you can keep doing some stuff with the project. But you do have an exam there. And I also want a little bit of space between the exam and spring break so you can get your mind back into the class, ask questions you had, and do that sort of thing. And also you'll notice you have a second study aid due that previous week, which is meant to bring you back into thinking about the class and the work we've been doing before you have your next exam. So you have that, say, the little assignment there, that study aid is there, while you're also working on the major project. So again, two things are going on at once there. With the exam, and then after the exam, I'm giving you a week just to work on that data analysis. Data analysis is going to take you a while. Actually running the numbers in the computer is going to take you a little bit of time. And once you run that analysis, you have those numbers, you then have to write it up. And you should be doing it during that time as well. Because the following week, on April 4th, I do believe that's a Wednesday, and just for reference sake, that's the week immediately following the Easter and Passover holidays for those who are so interested. That's when you turn in the write-up of everything you did, of what you found and the implications of it, and you're really going to be talking about the theory of planned behavior and the data and pulling it all together. So that's what we're looking at. Like I say, this is a month and a half here. We'll be working on this project while also putting our attention to other concepts and assignments here in Persuasion. It's a 25% project that begins by you selecting a behavior. You're going to be creating a survey. You're collecting data using the surveys. You're doing data analysis, and then you're writing the report. I'm going to close with one final thing, and that is to say, you can do it. And that might sound silly, like you're not doubting yourself, or maybe you are, or it might sound like a big project. And it is a big project. I used to include a research project every semester in Persuasion, and people design their projects. We individualize them different theories, and every semester people are impressed with what they're able to do. Because it's an online class, it's been a bit harder to manage that, but I'm trying to bring that back into the curriculum because it was such a valuable thing, and students had such interesting projects and impressed me, and I think really impressed themselves with what they did. So I want to emphasize that this is a big thing, but you're not alone. I'm here, and in the end, you're going to find you can, in fact, do it. Well, that's it, everybody. That's a quick preview. As you have questions and concerns, get in touch with me. Most importantly, what you're going to have to do is make sure you really stay on top of the content and the due dates in this class. Good luck, everybody. I believe in you.